Hello and welcome to the Build With Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Bear. I'm here to build 2 model kits and hang out with all of you. I'm throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the Scythe, the emote in the chat. If you are currently a subscriber, you can reply with those emotes. If you're not a subscriber, you can say hi or use other people's emotes or, just remain silent and chill. John is here. Lashberg is here. We got a great crowd already. We're going to let people come in and be fashionably late. Of course, as always, friends, of course, you're already here, so you know this. But if you're watching this later on the VOD and you weren't aware. Tony the Swordsman's here saying, what's up, Pat? What's up? A thing to remember is you don't have to be here right when I get started. You don't have to be here the full 2 hours. You can come and go as you please. You could come hang out for like 15 minutes. Go check out something else because like I want to see some of Tiny Tina's Wonderland or whatever. I'm gonna go check out this stream with the streamer I like, and then come back at like 10:15 and be like, okay, I'm satisfied. Now I'm gonna hear about some anime and some manga from Pat. The Arctic Sloth says, getting ready to slice some pork into thin slices. Pray for the fingies. I mean, look, the knuckle technique, is not for everybody. Even with the knuckle technique, you're still worried about getting your knife near there. Just take your time with it is my biggest piece of advice. Am I too bright now? Wait, let me look at it. I think this is better. I think I was too bright in that previous light. So we're going to go with this right now. I might change my mind later. I don't know. It's it's possible. So tonight we have a boat. We got a boat right here, and we're gonna finish the boat. I'm gonna be putting some sails on this and using some stickers, 2 different kinds of stickers. So that'll be cool. And we'll complete the boat, and I think it'll take most of the stream to finish it up. But I do think we'll have time to start our next project, which is working on the Build Burning Gundam. Sometimes I say Gundam before, and I forget that the Gundam goes after, because most kits are the Gundam whatever, but some are, and like in this case, the Build Burning Gundam. And they put build in the front of it, even though it's just the Burning Gundam, because there's already a Burning Gundam in G Gundam. In the dub, they renamed the God Gundam the Burning Gundam, shining and God, but instead it's shining and burning. Because I guess they assumed that if they called it the God Gundam, that some people would be mad because, cartoons for kids. I mean, they're not, but whatever. This was going to be on Adult Swim, this is going to be Toonami. Sorry, this was going to be on Toonami, so they got to change it up. So that's why the dub went with calling it the Burning Gundam. This is not the Burning Gundam from that, although it is clearly inspired by G Gundam. It's not capital G God Gundam, is it? Oh, well, yeah, I'm John. Hey, Jam, welcome. You got to put the capital letter there because it's the name. It's the God Gundam. And then because also there's the Devil Gundam. Although in the English dub, it is the Dark Gundam. They changed God to burning and devil to dark. I have one. I have that one, but still haven't built it yet. Nice. Undirty says, "Evening, Pat Bear Cave." So apparently, EEAAO release date of 3/25 was select release because not where within 2 to 3 hour drive for me is carrying it until at least 3:30. I am sorry to hear that. We like to see our movies when we want to see our movies. You have the burning one. Oh, cool. Hey, so I'm going to tell you a real thing that happened to me that is very cute, and it just happened like 15 minutes ago before the stream started, but I'm going to wait till tomorrow to tweet about it because it might get good engagement, and I am interested in engagement. I don't think it's going to go viral, but it may get likes from people, and that would be nice. It's still a nice thing. Sorry, it is. I'm not going to hide that. I'm not going to lie about it. It's nice. I was asked today by my dad if I was if I wanted to figure out a way to go see the judo movie, because he knows I like anime, and he was like, "Are you gonna go see the judo movie?" And it took me a second to realize that he wanted to know if I wanted to go to the movies to see Jujutsu Kaisen Zero, the prequel movie to Jujutsu Kaisen. In his mind, it was judo because he was misunderstanding that it was jujitsu, but he didn't say jujitsu in his head, and instead it was jujitsu, and it came out judo, and it was still wrong, but it was like 2 degrees wrong. And this is what I need you to understand. That is my life. My life is translating my father's conversation enders. Uh, uh, but he was just being a good dad and asking me, and taking an interest because I have no idea. My assumption is the newspaper told him that was coming to our local cinema, and he thought that was something that I would want to see. And he's right. I mean, I don't want to go to the movies. We've talked about that. I don't want to go see a movie in theaters. But like, I do want to see that movie. I hear very good things. Love to see good numbers. How dare you like positive reinforcement? Indeed. And then Arctic says, haha, do it. Lead him into the anime. Yeah, the paper they're talking about the animes. Yeah. Like, it's one of those things where I'm like, sure. I don't expect my parents to understand anything about what I like. I mean, they got me the Lego set you see back there, the baby Yoda there, the child, and because they're like, understand that I have liked Star Wars in the past, even if I don't currently ever talk about Star Wars. They understand that, like, also they were like, we're gonna buy him a big Lego set, and we don't think he has this. It's very kind of them. I appreciate them very much for that. But yeah, so I'm not going to go to the movies to see that Judo Zero movie. But I do appreciate him looking out. And of course, as I said, I am waiting until tomorrow in the afternoon to tweet that out. Because it could be something that people like. Speaking of Twitter, I'm going to retweet my tweet, or reply to my tweet, I think. See if we can get a few more friends to join us tonight. We're going to work on some sales on this kit. And I'm going to have to apply stickers to the sails, but not too many stickers, which is nice. And so let's go to the overhead. Boom. I should say, here's the boat in its like full boat form. The ship with its little stand here, the water stand. This pops off, and what you can do is you can remove the bottom, and you can put on this, which is the like action water base, which I love the look of this. You can see from the top down there. I love this look so much, but I don't like that I just have a boat just hanging out, like just a piece of the boat. The hull. The hull is just chilling. That's not great, even if I do think this is better looking, because this does look rad. It just looks very, very cool. So, for now, we're going to go with just the simple stand that kind of is held by friction, but not really. And we'll get some stuff together. Now, also, speaking on engagement and people liking tweets and things, had a little bit of engagement last night with some funny tweets. 810. Because things have gotten, let's say, weird, in that it was announced by Variety that my former employer, the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, who have been closed as theaters and the training centers closed. They were doing online classes, and they have been, and that was kind of the only part of the business that was there. No touring, obviously, and no shows and any of the venues. In fact, gave up the leases on the New York venue and New York offices and all that. And I should also point out, um, accepted the small business loan with the numbers of employees that they had to qualify for it, and then laid off everybody, which, if you do that, you just have to pay back the loan. You don't have to, you could keep the money without having to pay it back if you use the money you were getting from the government to pay your salary, to help with paying wages. If you weren't going to use it for that, then you had to eventually pay that back. So they weren't criminal for doing that. It just was a bad look. Have we heard what the third bad thing about UCB is? Vice via money, Dennis Miller tangential ties. Asmo, we'll go through it. Like, there's not a lot to say about Mike. There is some things to say about Mike McAvoy that I think are funny, but they're not as funny as the fact that fucking one of the other guys is Dennis Miller's younger brother. That is just funny to me. So I'm gonna do some paneling. I did yes, VC money. Also, hi Asmo, happy to have you here. I did some panel lining here, a little bit off stream. It's not that noticeable. I think in photos it will be. So I am panel lining this before I put the stickers on, because it's easier to do that before you add a bunch of stickers and you have to worry about getting marker on the sticker or erasing over the sticker and not letting it set. So I'm just going to quickly hit this with a marker, and then we'll get into that. Is his brother known for anything? No, not in that case of Mike McAvoy. So that's where UCB was, right? Still doing online shows. They did some charity things for some folks here and there. Everyone in New York, including the artistic director and the finance people, and everyone got laid off. And in LA, most people got laid off. They kept somebody on administrative to from the school to handle the online classes, and they hired a new interim person to handle transitions of money, and to also handle hey, people that have 401ks, we gotta you gotta transfer this money out of here, yada yada yada, and just kind of handle the business end. And they've been cleaning up some of the business stuff as they went, which is fine. I get that. I understand that. No complaints about that from me. All right, let's make sure. Yeah, okay. So then this has been in the works for a while. I was unaware of it. There were people who were aware that the four owners of the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, the UCB 4, Amy, Matt, and Ian, were going to sell. And they did. They did sell to two gentlemen and a venture capitalist group that is giving them the money, that is working with them. We've got Jimmy Miller, who is the head of and one of the founders of Mosaic, which is well known. This is a well-known agency in Los Angeles. They have managed a lot of people, including Will Ferrell. And they also have been a film production company. They have a film branch. And they made a bunch of movies and TV shows, and including Step Brothers, starring Will Ferrell. And he is also Dennis Miller's younger brother, which is not... to me, it's only funny because he is Dennis Miller's younger brother, and Dennis Miller's younger brother now owns the UCB brand. And that, to me, is humorous. That is funny to me. That this dude is now holds the reins to the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, and various properties. Also, in 2018, he bought Jerry Bruckheimer's house. He and his wife bought one of Jerry Bruckheimer's houses and renovated it. So he spent millions and millions of dollars on this house. And that has nothing to do with it. It's just kind of putting you where this person is at, right? Um, because it to me is important to recognize that the Upright Citizens Brigade as a brand was a collective of several gentlemen in Chicago that eventually codified into four people that moved to New York to do a TV show. And they used the money they got from making that TV show to open up a theater because they were running shows and running classes in New York and giving other people money to be able to put on those shows. And they were like, we should get a theater. And so they opened up a theater. And that is the thing to think about that. And now that a guy that bought Jerry Bruckheimer's house is one of the people that owns it. And it's just weird. The other person that owns it is former Onion CEO and owner Mike McAvoy. And if you're thinking, who the fuck is Mike McAvoy? I would join you in that because I've never heard that name before, and I'm fucking aware of who and what the Onion is. Well, you'd be forgiven for not remembering Mike and his tenure as CEO because it came during the dark times of the Onion. Because he became CEO in 2015. And he ended being CEO in 2019. Okay, so it's not this one, it's that one. Great. And you may remember something that happened to The Onion in 2016 and something that happened to The Onion in 2019. In 2016, 40% of The Onion was purchased by Univision in an attempt to broaden Univision's properties that they owned outside of Spanish-speaking markets, particularly in the United States. So it was an investment from a company. And as part of that, Mike was CEO to make way for that to happen. Because he is a business guy. He was not on the ground floor. He's not a comedy dude. He'd like you to think he is. He'd very much like you to think he is. But he's a finance bro that ended up with The Onion. And then in 2019, The Onion was purchased whole hog by a venture capital group. And the new owner, who also owns the Gawker Media Group, he fired Mike. Now, we don't know exactly what happened there, and I don't want to do any conjecture. I will only say that according to a lawsuit filed by Mike, he was fired because he was standing up for a female executive who the owner at the time wanted to fire because he just didn't like her. And he was also firing lots of people. Yes, indeed. Big fans, not really, of that particular group of folks. So, all of this to say, Mike and Jimmy are not comedy people. You might even say they have comedy in their blood, one of them. But they're not who you think of when you think of comedy. They're more who you think of when you think of like the CBGBs that opened in an airport that is just a clothing store restaurant. Like it's that kind of thing. I've been saying UCB VC because this is all made possible thanks to generous amounts of money from, undisclosed at this moment, from the Elysian Park Ventures, which is the investment arm of the LA Dodgers. The LA Dodgers invests in a bunch of things as a venture capital group, and they have put the money up together to make this sale. And it feels fucking very weird to think about how the company that I worked for from 2004 till 2019 is now owned by Dennis Miller's younger brother, the Univision era CEO of The Onion and the Dodgers? It's fucking weird. It's very fucking weird. So, what else do we know? We know the statement that Mike put out. Mike sent an email out to, he signed it. I keep calling him Mike because he signed his email Mike, and there was a hashtag among the circle that I am in on the internet, on Twitter, that was like, who's Mike? Because a bunch of people were like, we don't know who you are. Because he is, as the former CEO / owner of The Onion, which is what, his street cred. He is definitely trying to appease like, hey, I'm one of you guys. I'm a big comedy person, because I owned The Onion for a while in the Univision era. And then, and it's like, okay. He sent an email talking about, there are a bunch of things, right? Happy to have it. We're going to open up a theater in LA this year. We're going to reopen. We're going to hopefully open in New York in 2023. We are going to we're going to be able to pay performers. We're going to work on a business model where we can pay people, and we're of course going to facilitate, now that we have this influx of cash. See, it's a good thing that we have venture capital coming in, because it means that we can have more scholarships, because they did have some, but more is better than not. So they're like, yeah, we can do all this stuff now. We can have like scholarships come in, and we're going to work on all these diversity initiatives that were laid forth by people previously. We're going to be able to do all that because that is a thing. The Project Rethink. I'm not going to delve too much into Project Rethink, but it was a community effort among the UCB community, specifically mostly in Los Angeles, because that is where all the UCB lived, was to work with the UCB4 on ways to change the UCB for the better. And there was no better time to do that than when there wasn't a theater, when you could really fundamentally change things. So that was definitely the attempt. This is B21, not A21. I pulled the wrong keys out. So yeah, so the idea basically was, let's work on actually having a business model that pays people. Let's work on the lack of a diverse performance on stage and a diverse management, where your teachers are the most diverse part of the theater. That's good, but that's not the end. We want to have employees of a diverse range. We want to have a bunch of different things. We want to have calling the shots, and also making things fair for people, and making opportunities exist for people of color and queer people as well. And they were working. The statement from Project Rethink was that they had been making some headroom with the Upright Citizens Brigade, the UCB4, but once this sale was going to happen, things changed. And now, instead of continuing to work with this new group, they have decided to disband, and they wish them the best, which is not great. That is not a good sign if this group of dedicated performers who want to make changes were basically decided that instead of doing that, they were just going to dissolve. So that feels like a lost cause, and that is troubling as someone that would like to see those initiatives succeed. And in my own way, or my own abilities, did my best to foster that on my end. Certainly, could have done more than I did. Tried my best. Tried most of my best. So yeah. I also want to just say that they have apparently, been in communication with some LA folks with Project Rethink. They have been in touch with some employees in Los Angeles, former employees in Los Angeles, about where they were at. And then They haven't talked to anyone from New York, as far as I can tell. Yeah, because these are LA-based folks. No one's communicated with New York, including the uh, former artistic director of the New York venue, who is now got his own little theater. They are small. They don't have their own space. They're doing classes and they're doing performances in another venue. So I don't think it's not improper for me to say that it is small. But it is weird that that they so far haven't communicated with anyone in New York, as far as I'm aware. That could have changed. It's certainly possible, but it does seem right now anyway that they haven't, and that's where we're at with that. It is very strange to think that there will be a UCB in the future that has nothing to do with anything. I don't know if people, I don't know if they're going to pick an artistic director that people in Los Angeles know and have worked with in the past. I don't know if they're going to hire back house managers and and tech people and because I did have somebody reach out and go like, hey Pat, you should apply for the New York theater. Which one, if they did want to appeal to a certain demographic of previous performers in New York and say, hey, we hear you. It's a lot of change. You should come back because we hired back the guy that got laid up in 2019. If they want to make an offer, we'll talk. I say that knowing that, one, they're not going to make an offer. They're going to hire nobodies that no one's ever heard of, who may be talented, but are going to, make $13 an hour, $12 an hour. They're not going to pay me the money that they should be paying me to do the job. Because why would they do that? Why would they pay me what I deserve when they can pay somebody else? I'm not expecting offers to be made for me. I don't even know if that would be the right thing to do. Who knows? Also, a thing to just take into consideration when we're chatting about these kind of things is that, of course, we got to look at it like this. Venture capitalists don't just give money out to see what's up. They want return on their investment. And I don't know how they're going to get that. Like, I have ideas on how they're going to get that. And my general idea on how they're going to get that money comes down to A15 and 16. Great, this one. To me, it comes down to they're going to get their money on the brand. The theater is to be cool and to get new people invested and to try stuff out. The money is going to be in corporate workshops, and already UCB did corporate workshops. Don't get me wrong; that's not like a new thing. They did corporate workshops. That was a element of the business, but it's going to be the big part. I should also say, according to a few people, I cannot verify this information. This is not the first comedy theater brand that these two gentlemen with this backing tried to purchase. The first one was Improv Olympic. They tried to purchase Improv Olympic, but Improv Olympic had to sell faster than the negotiations tanked. So they did not, or IO. They tried to do that first, but that didn't work out. So this is the second one that they were looking for. But yeah, venture capitalists are looking for return on investment. I joked about this, but it's not really a joke, and I stand by it. The nice benefit for those folks is that UCB already fired all of its staff, so they don't have to fire people. So they don't have to do the thing. They're not going to hire them back. I mean, or maybe a couple. But they don't have to do the oh yeah, we've got to make some changes. Um, I don't think they're going to just saddle UCB with debt, previous debt or other debt, like, and make it an escape. I don't necessarily think they're playing that game, although they certainly could be playing that game. I honestly think they're going to just try to use it as a brand and sell a bunch of stuff and do corporate workshops and run the name into the ground. It already is. It's already a tainted brand, but they're going to do whatever they want with it, and no one's going to be able to say anything about it. And I also wrote this on my Twitter, and I do stand by it. I do hope my friends, particularly in the time for UCB Speaker Hat and UCB Hotels. Yeah, exactly. I do hope that my friends in Los Angeles who were teaching with them during the lockdown, doing the Zoom teaching classes, and also eventually will, do more in person. I hope they get hired and can continue to work and teach, because that is a valuable source of income for folks. So I am hopeful for them. I don't necessarily have the most hope that they're going to be able to pull that shit off, but I do hope I am fingers crossed for them, because they're my friends and I care about them. Even if in the short term they make some money before it feels terrible. Based on what they used to do, what would a UCB corporate workshop look like? So Asmo, it depends on the company, and but a lot of them are team building workshops, but like more fun, right? Because you're going to do some improv games, you're going to do some activities. Sometimes they it might include seeing like a show, like a private show just for you. That might be a corporate workshop where it's just like, hey, we're going to have some improvisers come in and entertain people, like, and we got pizza and we're going to hang out. And it would feel like a weird mandatory thing that people had to do, but like everybody's coming in to do it. But then, yeah, there might be something that's like public speaking or working with teams and opening up the lines of communication, doing the like listening and like just doing like some theater games, but also some improv exercises and real workshops. It wouldn't be like we're all going to do an improv set, but it would be like we're going to do Expert, which is like an improv teaching tool. And it would be stuff like that. Sometimes corporate would be like doing a show for like schools. That was also part of the corporate, even though it's just corporate in the name. But it would be doing like, yeah, like, oh, we do school performances and we're, like whatever, which is always the one that 20-something improvisers are the most scared of because they can't curse. And so they're generally very afraid of that. And the advice I always gave was, so just do things set in school, making fun of teachers, because all kids love that, and do sets where like fantasy stuff happens, because maybe even kids don't like that, but they do love the idea of like a adult human playing a dragon. Like that is stuff like those are like fairly universal things that work. Not all of it, but like a lot of that stuff just works. Like kids do tend to like that stuff. Corporate drone, that all makes sense. Yes. It's a corporate drone that all makes sense. Yeah, so it's just like team building. Like, and sometimes it would be like, hey, this group of 3 people that don't know each other because your offices are so big. We're going to throw you together and you're going to advertise, you're going to like pitch a product, a made up product. I'm going to give you a suggestion of a product and you got to like work together and like make like slides on this big, easel, like make up some fake PowerPoint slides and do a whole thing. And then you're going to present to the group based on this fantastical idea. And it's like, brainstorming kind of a thing. And like, being comfortable with whatever. And some of it's bullshit, but some of it is helpful. And occasionally, like sometimes the corporate stuff, if it happened in the theater, then it'd be like, okay, and then you're going to go out to eat, and then you're going to come back, and you're going to come to a show, and you're all going to watch the show together. And then you can, as I completely knock this thing over, because I'm gesturing too much, then you're going to, like, be able to talk about it, and you'll have these, like, shared experiences. And some of it is nonsense, and some of it is, like, kind of cool. But I'm sure that will be ramped up and amped up and in some ways as it should be. All right, so how does this actually look? Am I doing that right? Yes. Okay, yeah. These go on here. Okay, great. We're going to do our first big sale. It is the smaller of the two sales, of course, because it's the front sale. And so let me figure out which one that is. So anyway, it's fucking weird. I feel very strange about it. I don't particularly enjoy what's happening here. All right, so this is C3, and I'm going to put big sticker 1. But we're going to panel line this first, because I don't want to panel line around a sticker or just put marker on the sticker. So I'm going to do the panel line first and do that. So yeah, so anyway, that's the big thing that, like, also it got dumped on a Friday, and it's fucking weird, and it's very strange, and I don't particularly care that some of my former employers follow me on Twitter. One of the 4 founders follows me on Twitter, and that's fine. I think it's okay. I think I mostly feel weird, but also as I talked to him, when I did chat with him randomly in 2019, we bumped into each other. I was like, look, I'm not mad at you. I also think if somebody was going to get laid off in 2019, you were closing one of the two theaters in New York. You were going to lay off one head tech. You laid off the one with a lot of experience who made a lot more money than the guy that had joined 6 months before. It financially makes a lot of sense. Emotionally, it fucking sucks. And also, Matt, you fired the best tech in New York City. And I'm not saying hyperbole when I say that. I am the best tech, the best light and sound for comedy tech at the time in New York. That was me. There was no one doing it better than how I was doing it. So, they fucked up, but I still was like, I'm fine, whatever with that. I'm fine with them as people, for the most part. One of them I don't particularly love, which is fine. Gonna keep that, that's fine. Yeah, so I just panel line this here with a little bit, with some gray, and I'm gonna do the back of it a bit. Arctic Slaw says, pork sliced, fingers intact, delicious, awaits tomorrow. Hell yeah. You gave yourself a gift tomorrow of thinly sliced pork. You can just enjoy tomorrow and be like, oh, thanks for doing that on a Saturday night. Oh, we did it. My dad made meatloaf today. He put some ground pork in there, and it was good. It turned out very good. He also put, I'll say this, way too much onion. It's a lot of onion, but it still turned out great. It's like you just like push your fork into it and then just onion falls out. So yeah, that's how much onion was in there. Got it sitting in Korean barbecue marinade. Hell yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great. So yeah, it was weird. It was weird to kind of like collectively go through it with some people. Some other people, especially New York people. LA people are like, oh, okay. Well, yeah, all right. Well, let me know. Like, oh, well, I guess I'll reach out to like my contacts to see if anybody knows like what's going on there. And New York is kind of like, what does this fucking mean though? And I appreciate that. And then most people are like, oh, that sucks. This CBGB shit. Corporate sellout shit sucks. I did have a few people private message me trying to explain how venture capital makes the world go round, and I gotta get on board. To which I said, are you also going to try to sell me NFTs? Because that's what you sound like. I said that to 2 different people. Neither has replied. And you know what? Fair. I am an asshole. Because I could have just not replied to them instead of just saying, no. I'm not going to pretend that venture capital is cool. Hey, Bobby, welcome. Bobby Dust Roller is here. Welcome. We're working on the Red Force, Shanks ship. The red-haired pirates ship here. I am going to slowly remove this sticker. This is not a water slide decal. It kind of looks like it is, but it is a sticker. But I am slowly removing this sticker, and then we're going to apply it on our sail. Yeah. VC has done wonders for the housing market if you love rent for the rest of your life, that is. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Venture capital that are just like buying. They're just like buying houses just to see what's up. No plans to like, or maybe like rent them. Yeah. They're just going to, yeah. Yeah. Venture capital has been great for all that. Okay. So basically, I got to put this like in the middle of this piece here. And I'm not going to nail this. It's going to look okay. It's not going to look perfect, but will look okay. Slowly doing it. Slowly doing it. For this one, I should have used the big tweezers instead of the knife. I realize that now, that I could have used the big tweezers for this. And I didn't. I should have. But I'm glad I pen aligned this first. I think that looks pretty good. Hell yeah. Again, it's not perfect, but it doesn't look bad. And sometimes that's all I can hope for, is that I have done a thing that does not look bad. We still got more sales to do here, but we'll continue on. Hey, Lord Crashington. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, that was the big thing that happened to me yesterday, was just like dealing with this like complete and utter nonsense that relating to... that was C3, right? Oh, I hope this was the right one. Yeah. I think that, yeah, because these are all C, this is C4. Yes, okay. I got to get this attached right, and I don't quite know how to do it, so we'll see. Who the heck is going to believe a perfect pirate ship anyway, right? It's been a while since I tuned in. I've been very offline lately. How you been, Pat? I've been pretty good. It's very funny that like tonight I was talking about this weird stuff with my former employer, or the brand that my former employer created, I guess now, because there's new people with the brand. And then Thursday was our like total like airing of grievances stream. So I guess people could like wrongly assume that like I'm just being very negative lately, because my streams, like I said, it was the airing of grievances, which I still feel very strongly about as being a fun idea for a stream. And then we followed that up with me talking about the weirdness of my former employer being owned by Dennis Miller's younger brother, the guy from the bad years at the Onion, and a venture capitalist group that is made up of money made by the Dodgers. It's just a weird sequence of events, but wanted to talk about the new UCB because it is just so fucking weird. All right, sail set. We can set sail. Booyah! That looks pretty fucking good. Now we got stuff. But overall, Bobby, I've been doing okay. And you know what? I'm going to tell you. Sometimes I would like to be offline. I'm not. I'm never. I mean, there are days where I don't check things. I maybe just like look at my email. But I'm not like active. There are days where I'm not as active, but I'm still tuned in pretty heavily all the time. I mean, it's, my work and my play is the internet. So, Bobby says, I actually went to my first improv comedy show last night, and I started improv class on Tuesday. Hell yeah, Bobby. Enjoy. I love improv very much. I will continue to love improv, and my weird experiences working in the comedy industry have not lessened my interest and love of improv. I still love it very much. It is still a thing that I enjoy doing. I will still continue to eventually do the improvised post-mortem. Someday when I go back to a PAX, I will bring with me the improvised post-mortem and continue the one very long game of short-form improv. I will continue to do that because I really like that show and I really like doing improv. So I expect that I will do that again. And then eventually I will end up in a city where I am doing comedy. Did I apply for a comedy theater job in Chicago? Yes. Do I think I'm going to get hired for that job? I don't know. They're not going to help me move, and I've been to Chicago like twice. I don't have like a big community of people. Like I don't have like a support network in Chicago. I have like friends that used to work for a company run by a complete monster man, but like most of them have left that company since. But I do have like friends in Chicago. Uh, um, Bobby says I was terminally online for the last 25 to 30 years since I take a break. I hear you, yeah. Lord Crashington, you do get that wind off those lakes. It is windy there. Remember the most important phrase in improv comedy? What? No. Yes, that is very important for comedy, is to not know what's going on at any given moment. All right, so this is gonna go this, yeah, because it's like a nest. Got it. I get it. And then a 8 is the next one. We have a nice little improv scene here in Dayton. It's warmed my heart to see that show I went to was sold out. That's awesome. You love to see a sold out comedy show. Comedy is at its best when there are a bunch of people laughing. Like, and that seems like obvious, but it really is. Like, improv for like 5 people can still be really good. I have been to intimate improv shows. I've been to shows where there are more performers than audience members that have been great. But I've also been to some like pretty weak ass, not that great improv for like 60 people that was a great time. Improv can be okay, but with the room is hot, it is great. So that is whereas like stand up, when you get to like 100 people in a room, sometimes stand up isn't that good when it's like 100 people there. Not always, but sometimes. Sometimes it works out, but oftentimes it doesn't. All right, so then we need a 7 to put on top of that. Do you want to live in a city that is slowly sinking into a swamp? I mean, if the pay's good. I mean, I don't, Asmo, but like, if the pay's good. I mean, it's not sinking at the rate of Mexico City, but Chicago is slowly sinking. Yeah. Honestly, I just want to work in comedy, and a job went up at a place that seems pretty cool, and I know good things, and it was retweeted by someone I really respect in the world of comedy, and I am overqualified for the position, and the starting pay is actually like reasonable. We'll see what the actual like things that are needed for the job are, and we'll see if they're like actually going to pay well. Also, like I said, I don't know how I'm getting there. I don't know how I'm living there. I don't know, like, it's like, I guess Tom will let me sleep. Tom might let me sleep on his floor. Like, I'll figure it out, but I don't know. It's exciting to apply for a thing that I'm qualified for instead of applying for things that I have to pitch myself as a reason to hire me. Instead, I'll just be like, hey, I'm Pat Baer. I'm a really good tech person. You should hire me. Like, that's kind of a nice feeling. It's only very slowly. I really missed Ohio recently. I don't find that unbelievable at all. I actually quite like it here, aside from the political climate. Yeah, I mean, Ohio's got its good parts. I do want to live in a city instead of like a town. Like, I'm definitely done with living in a town. I'm definitely done with living in a place where it takes me 45 minutes to walk to a business. I'm kind of done with that. I'm done with going on like a walk for my health and for my mental health and my physical health and not seeing any Pokestops. Like, I'm a little done living in a small town that's right next to a bigger town that is not a city. Even if they call it a city. This shit ain't a city. The only thing I don't like about improv is that it's impossible to talk about afterwards. Oh yeah, they did this whole thing about a pirates that didn't know how to drive a boat. Yes. Um, Lord Crest says you need more churches nearby. You're right. That generally there are Pokestops and a gym in most churches. Don't have any within walking distance of me. Um, you're totally correct. All right, so all right, and we need B20 and B19. Gotta put B20 and B19 on here. I might have already done one of them, so we'll see. Did I pull those off? No, it's this one's here. Okay. Yeah, improv is you had to be there. You like sometimes you can kind of like if it's a saying like and then this person said this is never going to work, but sometimes it's the premises that the premises sometimes you can be like you can maybe convey it to people, but it's very difficult. You're not wrong. Improv is very much a product of like environment of the moment, things that happen there, you know, are and you're like, okay, great, and it's like very difficult to explain like moves or moments in a show. But I do love it. Do miss doing it. I didn't really love doing Zoom improv. I've done some of it. I haven't done like shows, but I've done like hangouts with other improvisers, and we just kind of like did some stuff, like basically practice. And that was nice to do, but it's not the same. All right, so I guess this ship does. Yeah, this ship doesn't have. None of these have stickers on them, but we're going to panel line it, and I need C4, not C5. Yeah. So we'll get that going. But yeah, I do miss doing improv. Luckily for me, I did an improv jam about one day, literally one day before the theater I was working at shut down, and basically all of New York shut down. So like 2 years ago, basically 2 years ago, and 2 weeks ago was my last like in-person improv set, and so I was very grateful that I had the opportunity to do that. So I'm just gonna hit this with some gray here, just to kind of give it a little bit more of a pop. It doesn't really need it, but it'll look okay. The timing is hard on Zoom. I ran into a lot trying to play TTRPGs for a bit. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing having Roll20 has certainly helped with doing the D&D stuff. And a lot of it is just like patience, and it does require people to lead, which doesn't work great in improv, but can work okay. I didn't have any no role-playing game stuff this weekend, not with my D&D group or my my like thrown together one-off group. There were like a few people, but the timing didn't work out for me because they would be ending at like 9, like right when the stream was going to start. So I was like, well, I don't want to push that. That would have been today. I didn't want to have to leave early, and then I didn't also want to start the stream late. I also didn't want to talk for like 2 to 3 hours before I stream for 2 hours, like directly before. I was just like, that's probably not good for my voice because I got to build it up again. You mentioned earlier the improvised postmortem will be great to see back when you're ready to get back to conventions. Yeah, Asmo. I did it at PAX Unplugged in December for a very small room with a very small amount of group because we had people drop like that weekend, which was reasonable. One person did think they had COVID. They didn't. And another person never gave a reason, but I was still fine with that. They were just feeling uncomfortable, I believe. But it was still like a fun show that I enjoyed doing. But I'm looking forward to getting that, like getting some of the Giant Bomb folks and the game dev folks and the Loading Ready Run folks again together. Just have a good time doing some comedies. I'm not going to be at PAX East. It's my first PAX East I'm missing ever. And it feels really weird, but I feel good about that decision, especially with all of the people who fucking had COVID walking around without masks and going to parties at GDC bullshit. Even though Maxed and Vaxxed is a thing for PAX, I'm still like, finding out how irresponsible some people have been at GDC certainly made me go like, all right, maybe I'm not as sad that I'm not going to be at PAX. I am still doing an Echo Knight character in my regular D&D crew. Yeah, my Echo Knight who fully understands what it means to be an Echo Knight now, which is very fun. Understands what the Echo is. All right, so I got to get this on here, and then I can place it. We'll go to the next page. I can see where that goes. Oh, step 34 is to do that. Where's step 35 is like, oh, I guess it's the same. What? Where's that? Step third. Is that 30? This is step 34. Step 30 is, oh, I can put a pirate flag on here if I want. Oh, I'm messing this up. Is this one? Or is it this one? I think I'm trying to put the wrong. Yeah, this is meant for the other one. Okay. This is this flag here. I screwed it up. I think I built, I don't know. Yeah, I think I built this one. And that goes to C5. Got it. Okay. I got confused here. I'm getting it. I'm figuring it out. People go to GC and not mess is just wild to me. 100% I'm John. All of that is fucking wild. And especially if you like think you might be exposed and you're just like putting yourself out there like that. It would be very fun to attend public events as we decide COVID is over as a society. Yep. And by fun, you made terrible, and I agree. It's awful and scary as shit. I am going to put a flag on this one after I panel it. I figured this out now. It took me a second to figure out why this felt wrong. It's because it was wrong. And we'll just panel this up or line this up. We'll take a pause to the cause in a moment or two. I don't think we're ever getting past COVID. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I think a lot of it is just what things are going to enforce. Like, you know, right now I'm thinking, you know, I probably will I will try endeavor to go to PAX West. I will try to get that together and go to PAX West. That's what I'd like to do. But if Reed decides to pull back their, like, you must be masked at all times, you must be vaccinated, or have proof of, you know, like, you know, you don't have COVID, a COVID test, to be able to enter. If they start, like, pulling back on that, then I'm not gonna go. So we'll see. But yeah, there was a few things where I was like, oh yeah, I don't know. Right now, there's a convention that I used to go to a lot in New York that they are ticket information they're putting out there. They have not said anything about masks or proof of vaccination. And a bunch of people are at risk. There are immune compromised people. There are folks that are at risk for various reasons that have been asking them. And they're like, more info soon, which is not a fucking answer. More info soon is not a yes or a no. A bunch of people I know are freaked out about that. I don't expect to be in New York to go, so I haven't made any plans. I was hoping they were still going to do a digital because I enjoyed the digital version. But I understand why they want to do it in person. I fucking get it. I don't agree with it, but I get it. All right, let's put this. Let's get this one. This is number 30. Where's 30 go? 30 goes in the middle. Yeah, we're gonna get this one done here, and then we'll take a pause for the cause. I'll talk about ways you can support the channel, and then we'll finish this kit up because we only have to do one more sale, and then we'll be done. Is PAX Unplugged going to be a thing? I might try to see what's up around there. So I'm assuming, Arctic Sloth, that they will do PAX Unplugged again this year. I don't know for sure. I will say it happened right before a surge, and it felt good in the moment, but I did test several times because I was scared. But, like, you know, I wore a mask the whole time. I think it was a smaller show than it had been in the past, but it was still fun. So I do expect them to do that again. There's a work conference I'm going to this summer that is requiring negative COVID test, and I'm going to see how many of my peers feel like wearing a mask. Yeah, John, I also honestly just feel like it's going to be a thing where it's like, how bad are the cases in that area? And there are going to be some people that are just like not going to worry about it, which is bizarre to me and feels nonsensical. But I think that's kind of where people are at. They're just going to like play it by ear, which feels very scary. Cool. All right, so now I got, we still have this row here to make, but that's the last thing we have to do for this kit. So we'll, oh, I can pull those, oh no, those go, I guess those can go on the sides, but I'm not going to worry about that. I guess I can do that. Oh, these are the wrong ones. That was supposed to go there. I got it now. Sorry. I've seen people express disappointment in conventions and other public events that had digital components, just fully excluding the people that could finally check out the event's digital options. Yeah, I understand that, but that you're like, no, we want to go back to the way things were, but it's like, well, we're not ready for that. Who knows when that's going to happen? But like, come on, you had this access. Like, why not have some people why not have virtual panelists? If you want to have your fucking convention, let me have somebody come in on Zoom and have a big monitor. Who cares? Let me have like guests that don't feel like traveling or can't travel, because of any number of reasons, safety and health and all that, but also maybe just like they won't be able to come back from the U.S. if they go, like, or easily, like, I think that's totally like a shame that we've figured out this technology and then we're like, nah, never mind. Yes, maybe the way things weren't super inclusive. Honestly, yeah. PAX seemed like to be ahead of the curve for their streams for so many panels. Disappointing with other cons. Didn't see how well that worked. Yeah, I mean, like, it's expensive to do that. You got to like hire contractors to do all that stuff. But like, yeah, there are a bunch of things. Like, there are always panels like at the bigger 2 PAXs that aren't streamed. But it always felt weird that there are shows that don't have any way to see those things unless you're there. And it's like, well, a lot of people are watching because you're like, well, we want to make it intimate. I'm like, for the thousands of people, that's not intimate, like thousands of people were there in person. That's never felt intimate to me, but whatever. Who's to say? I guess I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, we're going to take a pause for the cause, then we're going to come back and finish up this kit. If you're new to the stream, hi, we're going to get back to finishing this kit. But first, I'm going to talk about ways you can support this channel. All of the things I'm about to talk about here are optional. You don't have to do any of these things. These are things you can do. I'm not expecting you to do them. But if you would like to, you're more than welcome to, and it will be great. I'm throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the Scythe for our Tier 2s emotes. John, we're going to hit applause for John. He's just subscribed to Tier 1. So you can also put those emotes in there for John. Thank you very much for subscribing. That's 7 months. Appreciate it very much. As John just did, subscribing is the easiest way to support what I do. Again, we'll get back to building soon, but I do want to just talk about ways that you can support what I do here. And that is the easiest way. $5, cash money, or if you have Amazon Prime, you link your Prime with your Twitch, you get that Prime token. You can use it once a month for somebody, and you can use it for me. We are currently at 41. The goal is to whatever. The goal is to hit 45 right now. We're keeping the goal low. We're eventually we want to get to 50, but if we get to 45, that would be great. If you would like to become a subscriber, or if you want to gift a sub, you can join the gift sub leaderboard. Aristofan is there with 2 gifted sub, which is fantastic. We've got some bits and coins, always appreciated. We got bits from Harold and from Ironhide, which always appreciated as well. Every little bit helps. Thank you for even thinking about it. But there are other ways to support what I do. And I'll talk about Patreon. I got a Patreon, patreon.com/PatBear. There's a $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. And tomorrow I'm going to be putting up a Q&A video that is exclusively for my Patreon. And all tiers get to see that. So if you joined tonight, you get to see that video tomorrow. Or you could wait till April. You don't have to like immediately do it. But if you wanted to, I mean, it would be great. There are other ways to support me there. I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/PatBear. Obviously, subscribing there is free, and you should if you haven't already, because I put up good videos. But if you want to join, you could there, and you get my Wednesday videos on Tuesday. I send a message out, and you get those videos a day early, because it's the least I can do. Also, if you would like to support me, but you don't think you can do that monthly, I get it. I understand. I got a lot of subscriptions of my own. Well, why not think about donating through Ko-fi or PayPal, a one-time donation. It'll go into a fund along with everything I make through Twitch and through YouTube and through Patreon. All that goes into a fund. I take money out and buy stuff like the ship that I'm working on tonight. This came from funds from you, and I appreciate it very much. Now, I mentioned those ways to donate. The next thing I'm going to be working on tonight, which is the Build Burning Gundam, that was bought off my Amazon wish list. Thank you, Lashbrook, for picking that up along with the light that I'm using here to look all nice and bright. Also, a wish list from Amazon. And there's a bunch of stuff on there. Some of it's pre-order, and they don't charge you on Amazon pre-order until it actually ships. So you could put pre-order from that. I've got some Lego stuff, some model kits, inexpensive kits, very expensive kits. I just put on there Ryusuke's Ryosuke. I've never said his name out loud. Ryosuke, the Brainiac driver from Initial D. I put his car up there. The RX-7, the white RX-7. I've never built that kit. That is a glue kit. I haven't done a glue kit here in a while, and so I would love to break out the liquid cement and put together that kit. And it's actually pretty reasonably priced. So that's on there. But yeah, all kinds of different things. Inexpensive kits, expensive kits. Some gear on the bottom. I would like to step up my game with the overhead webcam and replace it with a camcorder that I have. But I would need more gear to be able to do that. So I put the gear that I would need in order to do that on there. I am looking for a cheaper mount that would work for a camera. That is not $50, because that is a fucking ask. And that's why I'm also starting with a reasonably priced capture device, because there are certainly those that are more pricey, but I'm not game capturing. I'm just video image capturing. So that's why I've gone with an inexpensive thing, mostly as a test to see if that would work out for us. That's just something I've been talking about, trying to up my game here and there where I can, and also that are easy for me to move places, because who knows. A new Amazon or wish list that is an alternative to Amazon is Throne. Not a lot on my Throne list, but Throne is supporting people by making it very easy for folks that have that don't want to put their public name out there or have their town get involved in wish lists, to protect those people. And I support that. And it's nice to have a kind of a different list. It's a smaller, more intimate list. But that's over there on Throne. And then you can always buy a gift card at USA Gundam Store. Send me a DM with the gift card code that you get in your email. And that's an alternative if you don't want to do Amazon. And you also don't know what to buy. And you'd be like, I bought a gift card. Here you go. Simple, easy. I'll buy something for USA Gundam Store. Believe me, I'll find fucking something there. Also, real quick, if you go to USA Gundam Store this weekend, let me find the offer code name. If you go to USA Gundam Store this weekend, you can and use the offer code BattleLog, and I'll put it in the chat. You can buy any of the Gundam Breaker BattleLog kits with a discount, a good discount. They don't have every single one of the line, but they have a lot of them. And there's the offer code BattleLog, all capital. If there's something you missed, I built all of them on stream. So if there's one that the Crimson Goof, the Goof custom that is that color is beautiful. It's fantastic and a great kit. and a fantastic color. I recommend that one. And I also recommend the Barbatorus and the the Live Lance Heaven, which is the inverted Death Scythe, which is just inventive and cool. And that's a new Death Scythe Hell kit build. So that was nice. All right. We're going to get to building in just a minute. A couple links I'm going to send out. First, I got a Discord. You can join my Discord. People chat there. It's a nice conversation with good folks. I post build photos at the end of every stream. It's a good time. Jump into the old Discord. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Video links. Pat Bear's Anime Club. I got a new one coming up on Monday, but if you missed the one where I talk about weird premises in anime that I really like, that's this video, and there will be, again, on Monday, will be the one I did recorded on Wednesday where I talked about anime from last season and the coming season. And Do You Remembaer? I talk about a case, Stella Liebeck. Stella Liebeck is also known as the McDonald's coffee lady, and I listened to too much late night television at the time and didn't know all the facts about the case, and it made me angry. So I talked about that in Do You Remembaer, and I hope you will check it out. It's a pretty good one, I think. I got a weird little one that's like not going to take long. It'll be probably the shortest one because it's a short Wikipedia article that I'm doing next week. And the week after that, I got recommended a person to talk about. So we're talking about a human being that did some cool shit as part of April, being Autism Awareness Month. So we'll do that. We'll talk about a very cool dude. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about some manga, and then I'm going to talk about some anime, and then we're going to finish this anime build, and then work on another anime build in just a moment. And of course, first things first, I got to dramatically transition so I can drink some water. So let's do that right now. Still haven't edited that cue to be shorter, but that's fine. Oh, also, John wants me to hit that ska button. I will. We still got ska because it's still March. I'll have a new ska song in April, but right now, here's a ska song for you. A little ska punk for you. This one was good. This ska punk song was pretty awesome. All right, so I'm gonna work on this last sail here, and then we'll be done with all of this. So I gotta get these pieces together, and then we'll be done with this sail. And let's talk a bit about The Descent of the Demonic Master, which is a manhwa. I haven't talked about a Korean comic in a little while. I thought I talked about this before, but apparently I've never talked about it before. There's like over 100 chapters, so if you really want to get into this manhwa, you can, because there's a lot for you to dig into. It's an interesting one that I would love to see explored more. There have been a couple of manga that have done this, in that it is what happens after you've already been isekai and you go back. In this case, our main character died a miserable, sad death on Earth, went into the Mirren world. Asma says, got a dip, been really fun to be back in the Bear Cave. Have a great rest of the stream. Thanks for being here. Asmo, always happy to see a familiar username. Take care, and thanks for coming in, and thanks all for letting us know that you're going to dip. Enjoy the rest of your evening. But yeah, so went to the reborn as a young child, didn't know what was going on, couldn't even speak the language because it was like ancient China basically. Ends up becoming a master martial artist, and then eventually is betrayed. He's so strong and didn't really understand how his own strength enough that people feared him or were jealous of him or just mostly feared him. So he's betrayed and killed. And he's like, okay, wow, I never really my first life was really tough. An accident took my legs and the life of my parents and my sister. This life has not been easy at all. And then I was betrayed, finally. It would be nice if in the next life I could, kind of live a slow life and be, and kind of relax. And then our main character wakes up. And it's from an accident that happened to him where he ended up in the hospital. But it's a few years before the accident that takes the life of his parents and his sister and takes his legs. So he has died once, gone back to like a fantasy world, become a martial arts master, the demonic demonic master, and then he's been given a second chance. And he also knows he can prevent the death of his parents and his sister. And he has to it's this very funny thing where he was alive for so long in that world, that magical world, that he forgot a lot of stuff. But he never forgot the taste or like the idea of soda, cola. He misses cola all that time. So he gets to a vending machine and buys a cola. Also, he has all of his abilities as a martial arts master and innate abilities. He has all of those abilities. He might not be as strong as he once was because his physical body is weaker, but he still knows how to do all this stuff and is still sharp about it. And he's like, well, it's cool that I have this. I won't need it though, because I'm going to live a slow life. I'm going to live a relaxed life. I'm going to do the stuff that I didn't get a chance to do. Hold on one second. I'm going to he goes back to school and he doesn't remember anything. He does make some silly decisions. He remembers from his past that there's a guy who was a multinational corporation owner that had an incurable illness, but he knows that he can cure it with his abilities. Because it's all just messed up Q that, we don't know, we don't understand now, but, they understood in the world of the Mirren world. So he can heal this guy, and he does it so that his family is financially taken care of, so that his parents can quit their terrible jobs and open up the cafe they always wanted to open. And his sister can pursue entertainment that she wants to. And it's all great. And it's all gravy. And of course there's a fucking shitty dude that's terrorizing his sister, which he was unable to help with in the past, but now he can. And things get fucking messy, as of course they do, and they get, things get messy, and then they get sorted out, and then they get messy, and then there's it scales up, and of course he's strong, and he's always getting his shit. And then the other thing we find out as this story progresses is other people have returned. There is an organization in the shadows that is made up of people who have returned from other worlds to basically keep control of them so that they don't go berserk. And he's basically been able to hide out the fact that he has these abilities because he hasn't done anything to really tip them off. And it is a continued very funny thing that people show up to and act real tough, and that he just makes it very clear that they shouldn't. There's a general, and he joins the military, which is actually really fun, of him just yeah, I'm going to do my service because I want to blend in. And then somebody discovers oh, hey, you're an otherworlder, and I work for, my master wants to meet you. And he's just your master should have come by yourself. Give your master a message. I'll kill him if he shows up. That's the thing with this dude. He's still not, through high school and through his time in the military, there's a girl that loves him, clearly loves him. And he's just I'm very not good at expressing these things. I don't know what to tell you. There's a lot of the comedy is in the fact that he's just like not like he still feels like he's the gotta be the demonic leader. Um, I will say eventually it gets old. I think this is a manhwa that doesn't need 100 chapters because things are like escalating. Um, with like people that want to kill him, but he's never really in danger. Some of the people around him are occasionally in danger, but it may have overstayed its welcome. I got a little tired of it. I am caught up. I have read it all, and as I said, I thought I had talked about it before, but apparently looking through my notes, I haven't. Through my list of things that I've talked about on stream, I got an Excel sheet. I guess I haven't. So I did want to talk about tonight. If you're looking for a manhwa, I don't know if it would. Like, I still think that, like, God of High School is still probably the best. Like, Solo Leveling might be the best epic manhwa for people. But I think I might instead recommend people check out, like, God of High School, or maybe Tower of God. And maybe not this particular one. But yeah, I'm glad I was able to chat about it because I had thought I did before, but apparently I didn't. One of these days I got to make sure my Excel is actually up to date. I thought I was keeping track, but there's a chance I wasn't, and that's not good. Also I forgot. The boat has a hole in it, so if you want to put it in like a stand for like gunpla, you can. If you want to have it like high in the air, I don't know why I would. Solo leveling is also complete. Yes, solo leveling is also over. So Lord Crest says, "Oh, hey, I redeemed a Ska reward earlier in case you missed it. I did miss it. Lord Crest did because it followed closely behind Unjan, so I didn't see it together. Thank you for letting me know." Dirty, I've tried several times to get into Marshall Peak, and it never worked for me. I'm trying to think of like the manhwa that I'm reading right now. The ones that I'm still reading. I'm going to look this up. What are the ones I'm still reading? We're done with this. I'm going to take some photos. The ones I'm still reading are Storm In, which I don't know. I think I've talked about on stream. If I haven't, I'll do it right now. Storm In is like what happens if like the hero of the battlefield who has nothing left opens up an inn. That's it. It's pretty okay. The beginning after the end I've talked about. It's getting fucking this. The beginning after the end is 138 chapters where like I would say about 115 are like 110 are awful things happening to this dude and the people around him. And then there's like 6 chapters of him being an incredible badass. And then there's like 5 or 6 chapters or maybe 10 chapters of like the absolute goofiest shit. But there's so little goofy and there's mostly just like complete and utter darkness. Martial Artist League Walk I've talked about. And Martial Artist League Walk continues to be awesome. I really do like that one. Return to the Disaster Class Hero is still good. It's fine. It's not great. He basically just kicked a god's ass recently, so that's kind of cool. And the max level hero has returned. I really like the premise of. I think it's still a decent one. 2070 chapters still going. Marshall Peak. Yeah, Marshall Peak. I definitely could not recommend that. All right, I gotta take up some photos here of this boat. Take a boat photo. Boat photo. Boat photo. We're gonna both ways to display our boat, our desk buddy, and then we'll move on and we'll start the Build Burning Gundam. 2 different ways. Two different ways to display your boat. All right. So yeah, we're going to finish that up. Yeah, the max level hero return of the max. What is it? The max level hero has returned. Is a really fun premise that I absolutely adore. Its idea, which is just like a dude is in a coma and then he ends up basically at Valhalla, like an equivalent of Valhalla, and he's not dead, and so everybody's there is like, you're not a hero or like the best at something. He's like, no, I'm not. I'm like a nice little like a kind of like sad boy whose mother was murdered, and then I was fucking poisoned with an arrow by my half brother. And they're like, and some of them are like, okay, well, you're probably here for some kind of cosmic reason, so I'll just train you to be awesome. And then he wakes up again and he's awesome after like thousands of years of training with all of these incredible masters. He basically like wakes up, hey, words may be welcome, and he like does cool shit. And we're at the point now where they just introduced a big mech, like a golem that's a mech, and I'm maybe like, that's a little too far, but maybe that's a little too far. I'd like to see a little more. Let's get some plot in here. Let's advance the plot a bit. It's also getting a little romancy, and I don't mind that usually, but I'm like, all right. So we're moving over to the burning. So I gotta delete the red force, get rid of that. So Lord Crashington, basically they call him like a golem, like the GOLEM. That kind of like usually like elemental or rock monster, but his version of it is made out of precious metals, and it basically just looks like a mech. It just looks like a magic controlled mech, and the art that's using, I'm like, did they source this art? Because it doesn't quite match up with the rest of the art style. So I was a little bit like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to talk about some anime now instead of talking about manhwa. I'm just making a pun about the Lord of the Rings character piloting a mech. Lord Crash, and I did get it, but I did want to be specific because people might have been confused with what I was talking about. Also, I want to make sure that it wasn't the golem, which that name is derived from, which is the monster made with magic to protect Jewish people, which is a different kind of thing, and is cool in a different way. Let's talk about some anime. Okay, so first, the Build Burning Gundam. This is from Gundam Build Fighters Try. It's one of the only Try kits I haven't built before. It is heavily inspired by G Gundam, but is not a variant of a kit, whereas a lot of the kits from these shows are like, oh, that's that, but then they just like did their own thing. I mean, clearly, it's based on the close combat types, like they list the influences. So it is loosely based on that. And it's a kit that could fit in with that era. And it does come with many fucking cool effects parts. So many goddamn cool effects parts on this kit. It's just got like punch effects. I'm very excited to kind of play around with all of this and take some weird photos at the end of this. That's just very cool. And it's not actually like, there's not that many pieces of this kit for a high grade from 2014. But yeah, it still looks cool. There's still like a lot of cool shit we can do here. And so we will get into it. We'll get some stuff done here. Start with the chest as always, but you can see the color, like, they're just like all kinds of cool, because it's the Burning Gundam, so you want to have some fucking flames. I would say this would be a great kit to track down just if you wanted effects parts for high grades. If you wanted this scale effects parts, you can get a lot of cool looking shit. So it might be worth tracking it down just for that, even if I do think that the model kit does look cool. And we're gonna have our markers. Not too many stickers here because all the effects parts, but a few stickers. Mostly in the head, but it looks like there's some elsewhere. The head looks like most of them, and probably, I don't know, the arm or the leg or something. I don't know, but we'll get into that. And let's talk about some anime. We got the time. The last episode yesterday and today, I watched the last episodes of Slow Loop and The Strongest Stage with the Weakest Crest, and the second to last episode of How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom Part 2. I'll start with Slow Loop. My overall impression, I talked about this on Wednesday. This is a show that I wanted to love and I just like. I think that I didn't mind I either wanted it to be way more drama or way more chill. And instead, it's just kind of dramatic and then kind of chill. And I think there was maybe I was originally hoping for more actual fishing content, but then I think they did increase the fishing content. So I do think it was a good show. I'm just like, overall. Strongest Stage with the Weakest Crest went out of its way to set up for a season 2. That they were like, hey, there's other things out there, and we're going to go here, and it looks like there's other countries invading. They spent a lot of time in the last part of the episode setting up more. As someone who's read the manga, I think that it's the weakest chapter or arc. So I would almost say I kind of wish they would, if they were going to do a season 2, which they have not announced a season 2. There's 12 episodes, but they were definitely setting it up. And I was actually expecting to see an announcement after it was over saying, hey, there's going to be more, but that hasn't happened. So I don't know for sure if that will happen. I thought the fights were fine in this one. The cute moments were cute. They added a couple things that weren't in the manga that might have been the light novel and did just not in the manga version that I thought were fine. I didn't particularly love them. They're basically really hard setting up the idea that, like, hey, eventually, there's other stuff that can happen in this world, and maybe we'll see that someday. There's all these other things, but I do think that what they're trying to set up and pitch, like, I was never super into it, that particular chapter, so I don't know. I don't think that The Strongest Stage with the Weakest Crest is a great anime. I do think that it is watchable. It is a totally, like, if you want to have it on and see what's up, you could totally do that. And I don't think you're doing, I don't think you're making a mistake by checking it out. But I certainly don't highly recommend it. I think Iris, the dragon girl, is probably one of my favorite parts of it. I do like the concept of Maddie, the dude who is like this incredibly powerful, almost omniscient, like wizard guy that also his big Achilles heel is the fact that he is like he just never really spent a lot of time with girls, and so he's like, I don't really know what to say here, and I think that that's kind of fine and kind of like whatever. So yeah, not my favorite thing. And then this episode of How to Realist Hero. If you watched How a Realist Hero, if you've seen some episodes and you're like, I wish there was an episode where like it was just a bunch of like characters being embarrassed, this is the episode for you. It mostly focuses on all of his four fiancées that have gone into some sort of crash course with the 500-year-old dragon woman who has basically her thing was like, I'm teaching you this class on like being a good a bride to be, and they were like, why are you teaching it? And she's just like, well, I've had many husbands and lovers in my 500 years, and they all my relationships ended with their deaths. And they're like, oh, I guess, yeah, all right, sure. I guess that makes you qualified. I'm like, does it? Does it, anime? But that's pretty silly and pretty fun. And it's nice to see these characters some of whom we haven't really seen interact with one another, have an opportunity to interact. And that's kind of fun. They discover a sauce. We got to see Poncho, who is one of my favorite characters that doesn't get it. Frankly, What's the cause of those deaths? Exactly, Lashbrook. It's implied old age, that she was just like, she had partners and they died of old age because she's such an awesome, partner. That is heavily implied. And then, oh yeah, we got Poncho, who's my favorite minor character. He never gets enough to do. It is implied that the Grand Cross Union, that the sister of the Empress there has a crush on our dude Hakuro, the very smart advisor, which was kind of a fun little bit of business that I don't. Oh yeah, because this is this is ahead of the manga, so I'm watching stuff that I haven't read yet, which is fun. Not stated. Yes, at least she won those marriages. Yeah. I mean, look, it's just like reasonable to the end to have 4 girls be pretty embarrassed, mostly embarrassed about the ideas that they're bringing forth. Also, not heavily implied, literally just stated, to get information about what he would like. One of his advisors ends up hypnotizing him so that he will talk about, for the purposes of having like good marriages, hypnotizing him to find out what he's interested in, what he likes about all 4 of them, and what he's interested with all 4 of them. He does understand it's happening, but it also is weird. And basically people are like, wait, what? Like, they don't really stop and go like, no, what did you do? It's a strange moment. Like I said, there's some new food, there's a katatsu, and then we end with a cliffhanger, because this show is still pretty fucking good about cliffhangers, having them, that it looks like the former king, wants to see him. That's important. We don't know why. And it could be a big cliffhanger into the next season. And I don't know if there will be one. I did not expect a part 2. Instead of season 2, they did part 2. I did not expect there to be a part 2 so soon after part 1. I did not expect that. This show seems to have done pretty damn well in Japan, which is great. I don't know if it's done well here. This is still, in my opinion, of the 3 shows I'm watching on Funimation, this is the one that's worth having the account and being able to the 4 shows. So the 4 shows that I have on Funimation, this is the one where I feel like this is worth having the premium account, or when I had it, so that I could see the episodes when they released, and I didn't have to wait for anything. I didn't have to wait for the next week. Let's see. So, why am I doing this wrong? I just did this on the other side. How am I fucking... Okay, so it goes like that. So that's that, which means that this goes in like this. Sorry, this whole setup is weird, and it's taking me a second to get this together. These shoulder parts just come together very strangely. How's the Fun CR merger going? Anything else chain lately? Well, Lord Crashington, the latest big thing. So one, it's very funny that this weekend, if you don't have a premium Funimation account and you want to watch stuff on Funimation, you're seeing less ads because of a brand integration with Ghostwire Tokyo. And it's very funny that the last full weekend of shows of Funimation existing as we know it is like being supplemented to advertise a video game. That's just very funny to me. Basically, Funimation is just like, hey, cancel your account, get a premium account on Crunchyroll, which is a weird thing. Like, they need to do that, but also, not everything is moved over, particularly stuff that's out right now. Like, it hasn't. Like, there's placeholder pages for some stuff. Like the show I just talked about, how Realist Rebuilt the Kingdom. There is a page for Crunchyroll Especially a game. Yeah, I mean, Lord Crashes, you got to get people in the door. It is taking place in Japan. I understand. I just think it's weird to be like, yeah, we're doing a brand integration with a brand that's going away. Um, Funimation has an LG TV app, but Crunchyroll doesn't. John, I'm sorry to hear that. I will say the Crunchyroll app, the Crunchyroll just website works really well. I know that's not the same at all. But the big thing is that a bunch of things are leaving Crunchyroll, and a couple of things are leaving Funimation as they will become High Dive exclusives. So I'm gonna look at the release schedule and see when I'm gonna get it, but I'm gonna get a High Dive account. And I've only watched stuff. I used to watch stuff when High Dive had a deal with Verve. I used to watch some High Dive stuff that way. I have not watched it since that partnership ended, kind of ahead of this. And I think I'm gonna get a High Dive account because they have like first of all, they're gonna have some shows that Crunchyroll doesn't have anymore, like the first 2 seasons of Nan Nan Biori are going there. It was funny when I canceled my funny sub and then gave me the exit survey asking why. Yes. That is, I mean, they got to do it, but it is funny, yeah. I'm sure no one's reading those now. Turns out AMC bought Sentai Filmworks, is why all their licenses are leaving Crunchyroll. Oh, so they might not end up on High Dive then. AMC bought Sentai. Okay, that makes sense. Last work, that does make sense. I wonder if, are all those anime shows going to end up on like AMC's like service? Because they have one, right? Doesn't AMC have a one of the bonus channels? Sentai owns High Dive. Yeah. Okay. So maybe it'll just end up on High Dive. That makes sense. All the Legends of Galactic Heroes on High Dive. I'm signing up tonight. Yeah. High Dive does so here's the thing. Up until very recently, High Dive would have like a few very cool, weird things, and then there would be like the porniest shit you could imagine would be AMC Home with the Walking. Yes, that is. You are correct. But yeah, sometimes they would just have like the horniest shit, or like, like the horny of the Crunchyroll. Yeah, John. Like, there was an anime a couple seasons ago that was like a 12-year-old homeless boy ends up becoming the dorm mother for a bunch of girls who all like flirt with him the entire time. Whatever anime that was on High Dive. The show about the healer who is mistreated, treated horribly. His entire time he is a healer. Abused and treated poorly, that gets this magic power to turn back time. He heals basically time to travel back in time so that he can right the wrongs that happened to him, but he does that by being a monster and a complete villain. That show was on High Dive. High Dive is also good for old mecha shows. Yes, if you want to watch the weird thing that like the pre-Eva weird mech show, Idatan, I can't remember the name of it, that Ian talked about on my Pat Bear's Anime Club, the big O on there. Yeah, oh, nice. That show is a space something, whatever. That is on High Dive. No, not that. Last week I can't remember the name of it, but it's the really weird. It's the thing that Evangelion is inspired by. Clearly, yes, Ideon. Thank you, Ghost Valve. Also, hi, Ghost Valve. Ideon is on High Dive. So they have like Lupin. But this upcoming season that is starting the first couple days in April, I believe April 2nd. Yes, Harold. Yes, you remember that panel. Well, thank you. Thank you for remembering. So what was it? Oh, so this coming season, they've got a lot more than they usually do. Usually they have like 1 or 2 shows, and they're gonna have like several that also I want to check out. They're getting a few shows that like Funimation would get that Crunchyroll wouldn't, kind of a thing. So I'm probably gonna get. what I'm gonna do is when we get closer, I'm gonna start building my schedule, right? And if it turns out, oh wow, every stream I'm gonna be talking about 4 shows right now, then I probably won't get it right away. I will wait a little bit on it, because inevitably when I'm watching these shows, I find something that like I like but I don't love, and then I just kind of like bounce off of it, and I give it a shot, but it's actually not what I'm looking for or whatever. Like this season was my dress up darling, that I was like, this premise is great. Oh, this show is just no thanks, not for me. This show is not for me. I understand why some people like it, but I'm not gonna watch the show anymore. So that always happens, right? So I would like to give maybe I'll give a buffer where I just have Crunchyroll and then I don't get High Dive for a little while, and then I'll pick up High Dive. That's my thought. I don't know. I don't know for sure if that's what's going to happen, but we'll see. Let's see. Other things. We're almost done with the stream here. We'll talk about video games and such on Monday, I think. If people are playing stuff or watching things, if you got any recommendations of media, you can let me know on Monday. We'll just do it like that because we are almost done with this stream. But yeah, I'll keep up to date with people on what's going on with various like things with the Crunchyroll thing and all of that. It'll be interesting to see in April like how decimated the Funimation site is. Like, will I be able to watch She Professed Herself People of the Wise Man? Like, can I check out the last episode of that? Or The Genius Prince's Guide to Raising a Nation Out of Debt? Like, they're ending next week, but for people who don't watch with paid accounts and watch with ads, that's the following Tuesday, which will be when Funimation technically doesn't exist. Are those shows going to just magically appear on the Crunchyroll site? Or will they still be up on Funimation and just like no new stuff? Like what's going to happen there? We don't quite know. It'll be interesting. Was Big O the one that kind of went if Bruce Wayne became a mech pilot? Yes. Dirty. Big O is done in the style of that Batman animated series, and it's kind of like, what if Batman and everyone else in Gotham had amnesia, but for some reason Alfred was able to maintenance a mech, and Bruce Wayne was able to pilot a mech. That basically is, and then there's also an android, but that's basically the Big O. Batman Space Noir, yeah, a little bit. GLC Crunchyroll is also no longer going to do their free option, basically. I didn't see that last, Brooke. That wouldn't surprise me. Now that they're the last big one, I believe, yeah, because like, right now, I'm pretty sure High Dive, you can't just watch shows. You have to be a member. Maybe you can do it with a free account and watch ads, but I don't believe that is. So it wouldn't surprise me if Crunchyroll was just going to get away from the free watch it a week late with ads model, because Sony has bought Crunchyroll. Sony now owns its biggest competition to Funimation, and is basically naming all of the Crunchyroll. They can just charge whatever they want, which sucks. But that's the reason why this deal shouldn't have happened. Should have been stopped. It should not have allowed to progress. Is because it is incredibly bad for consumers. Because like, there's like one show coming out on Netflix. I mean, Shaman King is still doing episodes. I don't think they're done yet. But like, of the seasonal shows, I think they got like one, and then like, it's weird, very strange. And there will be shows that I'm sure Alfred is also an experienced mech mechanic. True. But yeah, there's also going to just be like shows that don't get picked up, which we haven't had in a while, other than kids programming, which doesn't get picked up traditionally, which makes sense. There's just going to be a bunch of stuff that just doesn't see anything. Doesn't get any kind of deals. All right, we are done with the chest. I'll probably panel line this off stream, but I'll take a photo of it now. But this is going to be the end of the stream once I take this photo, and then we go and raid, because, we always end a stream with a raid. That is what we do here. So feel free to come along on this raid. I'm going to figure out who we're going to go hang out with. I I don't know yet. I've got to see. So we'll see here. Oops. Put this here. There we go. Thanks again for the raid on Thursday. Oh, no problem, Harold. I didn't hang out too long. I watched some of you play, but of course I usually don't actually hang out that long when I raid. So I hope the stream went well. I hope especially when we got around to when unlocked you could play the new game and all that. Yeah, I was happy to hang out for a little bit. I always, like to go and support people when I can. And now we're gonna see who we can support that I know. We haven't raided her in a while because she hasn't done evening streams in a while. But she's been doing some of her daily streams. We're gonna go raid Xandra because we love Xandra around here. Xandra is playing Tokyo Memorial, which is I guess it might be a fan translation of it. I don't know. But we're gonna go hang out with her. Thank you for being here. Thanks everybody for being here. Because Xandra rules. She's absolutely the best. And she made all my emotes. So I'm always grateful for her for doing cool emotes. So let's go with this raid. So thank you all so much for being here. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Please come along on this raid because Xandra is absolutely the best. And you'll love it. And her community is great, which is important to me. So thanks for being here. Have a great one. Let's go on this raid. And I will see you on Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern, to get deeper into the Build Burning Gundam. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye.